That's good.
Which
It'll
I
create
see.
Might get
atmosphere
mood
for
lighting halfway through.
it'll be atmosphere for the TPK. It's
Where's this
Hello,
TPK coming
internets.
from?
We are live. Welcome to session 7 of our Exploring Severia campaign. So I have a tradition as a GM, which is that at the beginning of a session, I roll a d4 or however many players there are that were there the previous week to determine who gets to give us a summary of last week's events. And Ken Sipaklu, you are the lucky winner, which is probably just as well because I just gave you the recap. So,
Like I said, this is not my fault. I have my notes. They're just like 3 states away, so not very useful right now. Okay, so last time we finished an obstacle course. It was a team building exercise, I think we've called it, or maybe I've called it that, and just assume that everyone else has too.
I think we've called it that.
Okay, yeah, team building exercise.
I thought you guys were trying to trick me by calling it that, but I usually assume you guys are just tricking me.
it's usually true.
Why would you think that?
Let's see. And then we had a bunch of we split the party a little bit. I went to a temple to try and see if there was any rumblings about Savan. Let's see. A few people went to a training ground to try out some new things. I think it was Savan and Cole. Cole is finding new ways to catch things on fire and help other people catch things on fire, right? Yeah. Yep, I'm getting 2 thumbs up. And then Godric is currently meeting his grandfather for the first time. So I expect this will be the end of his story arc, and we will retire his character.
Yep.
No doubt.
He's had a
and we
good
also
run.
we met with Lord Arkarin, and we have a dinner scheduled with him tonight to talk to his wife about our quest that we're on. I think that covers everything.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, good. And so we were discussing before stream exactly what Lord Urkarin said, and I confused myself. So let me just clarify. He recognized the name Mira when you brought it up, and he connected that with Reslin Kine. But he didn't really tell you much about how he knew that or anything, I believe.
Right, we probably should have asked.
You guys have not mentioned anything, at least by name, about Danvin or his father, who are your employers.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so let's pick up there. Cole and Sivan, you are on the archery range. Cole has just
Killed Savan.
yes, he just blasted what was it, a firebolt or something? A twin firebolt?
Chromatic orb.
Chromatic orb.
That's right.
Yeah.
At a target, and Sivan, in a plea to show off her new skills, invoked duplicity, sending her duplicate form out onto the range, just right in front of the orb to get blasted, and then dropped it and popped up behind Cole to surprise him.
Boo.
Were you going to add something, Sivan?
Oh, I said boo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and so, I think as Cole, you're kind of recovering from your shock, an older no, not older, sorry, a gnomish-looking man approaches the two of you. Everything all right? What's going on over here? He kind of looks down the range where the form had appeared a moment ago, but it's not there, and he's...
We are fine. I'm very sorry. I was showing him something new, and I did not realize what a ruckus it would make.
An illusion, then.
Yes.
Very interesting. Are you, you're a spellcaster, then?
Yes.
Ah, excellent. Well,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Cole's just kind of taking in everything. Just like, calm down. It was an illusion. Okay.
Yeah. That's mighty fine work there, mighty fine. And
Thank you.
a woman, another woman comes up behind him. Looks to be a young elven maiden, and she's got a bow. She's got a bow out. It looks like she was practicing on the range. And she comes over and, everything okay, Tinnis? And he says, oh, yes, no problem. They were just practicing a little magic here on the range. Well, please don't let us interrupt. He just kind of
Yeah.
stands there like, carry on.
Actually, I finished what I came here to do. Just wanted to try out a new spell, I guess you'd say. And then, she likes tricks.
He
You could say that, yes.
He grins. So, were you able to hit the target down there? And kind of gestures downrange.
I'm not sure. I was a little distracted. If I look down range, can I see a scorch mark on the target?
No. Because it didn't make it that far. It hit the duplicate before it got to the target. You do see...
I guess I hit a target.
Yeah, you do see a little bit of a scorch mark, like on the grass, like halfway down the range, where the duplicate had been standing. And he says, well, go on then. See if you can't hit that target.
Okay. I'll try with just a firebolt this time.
Okay. Go ahead. Make an attack roll.
19.
19. Yeah, you darn near hit the bullseye on that. Pretty good shot. You see, he also is carrying a bow, but it's very clear that like it's a little bit. He's carrying it a little awkwardly, like not really knowing what he's doing, and he goes to like set it down on the grass, and the woman who came up behind him goes, "Now, Tinnis, we talked about this. You don't put your bow down on the ground." And she kind of picks it back up and puts it onto his back, like, you know, a practice carrier would fire a bow. Oh, right. Sorry, Lura. I know you taught me that. And he turns and he says, "All right, my turn." And he's also going to cast a firebolt.
Ooh.
He just kind of catches the edge of the target. And he chuckles. He says, "Perhaps I should be practicing that instead of my archery, Laura." She says, "Now, you were the one who said that you wanted to learn a little bit of non-magical fighting, just in case, to have a backup." And he just kind of puts his hand up. I know.
It's true. It's always good to have something to use instead of magic should the situation need it.
And Laura just kind of like puts her hand out, like, see? Yeah.
So, are you soldiers or something out here?
The man Tennis, he just kind of chuckles as you say that. He says, not much of a fighter. I'm more of a research man myself. And I work over in the field of knowledge, which
Do I know what that is?
Cole, you probably would not. Sivan, make an easy history check. Probably you've heard mention of it in the city, but you haven't been there all that long.
Let's see how I'm rolling tonight.
Roll with intention.
Hey, natural 20!
See?
This bodes well.
Yeah, you definitely wanted to use a natural 20 on that DC 10 check. That was very good.
That's gonna be my one good roll for the night,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, so the Mindrin sort of was built up around magic users, and as such, there's a whole school that was built in the city for training magic users, and attached to that school, there's a very large library called the Field of Knowledge.
Just to double check, this isn't the same library that we went to before.
Right. If you remember when you went to
That was the bookworm, I
Yes.
think, with a Y.
Got it.
when you went to that library, I mentioned specifically that there was just a little library, nothing close to the real big library in Mindrin. The school. Oh yeah, the school they call the Reapers.
The Reapers?
Yeah, Reapers as in reaping the field of knowledge.
Gotcha. That's not ominous.
Not all reaping has to do with like death and misery.
Why don't I believe you?
Roll an insight check. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm a farmer. I'd know all about the other kind of reaping.
So yeah, Tennis says, yes, I'm more of a research man. Now, Lura here, she, well, she's not exactly a soldier, but she is a bit of a tracker, and the city calls upon her skills from time to time to, when they are in need of tracking a beast into the wilderness.
Laura, did you say?
Yeah, it's Lura, Lura.
Gotcha.
Hey, guess right.
What was the other guy's name?
Tinis, Tinis.
Right. Tennis. Okay.
So, are you lot adventurers then?
I guess you could say that. Kind of picked up a job for some cash because I'm a little new to the city, as you could probably guess, and doing what we can to make it by.
Excellent, excellent. Well, welcome to Mindrin, I suppose.
Well, thank you. So you said you worked at the library up there.
I do indeed.
Could I pick your brain about something?
Please.
Have you ever heard of an island of fire?
Let's see if he's heard of the Island of Fire. He kind of scratches his chin for a moment. Fire sounds vaguely familiar. Can't seem to place it though. What do you know of this island of fire?
Not much besides the name. Only heard from a strange occurrence with a fortune teller that might help me find out more about this. And he kind of holds up his hand, and just a spark of flame appears.
Interesting. I could probably do some research on this. He takes out a scroll and starts like writing down some writing some kind of notes. There are a few volumes that I can think of that I could start to cross-reference, and Laura says, well, Tennis, now we're here to practice. You know, you gotta get out of the books sometime. Yeah, I know. This is interesting. I know I've heard this name. I can't think of where it might be. Where might I find you later if I were to come across this information?
Kind of look to Savon, kind of questioning, is it okay to give out Zapaklu's address? Since you're more streetwise.
She just kind of goes as steadily as she can.
Sorry, what did she do subtly? Oh, okay.
Me try to find the name of that tavern way back in my notes.
Which tavern?
I'll say I'll check by the Fortunate Brave every once in a while.
It's Brave. Ah, member of the guild, are you?
I suppose so.
Interesting. Very well. I shall see what I can find. Oh, I didn't catch your name, by the way. He kind of sticks his hand out.
Oh,
I'm Tinis Nurum. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
okay. Wouldn't have guessed that one.
And you are?
I'll take his hand firmly. Cole Vesra.
Cole, it's a pleasure. And he turns to you, Sivan, and also puts out his hand.
Melia.
Malia, you said?
Yep.
Okay. Malia, it's a pleasure. And this is my dear friend, Laura Nordy. She kind of gives a stiff little bow.
It's a pleasure.
Well, I suppose we should get back to it then, eh, Laura? She's been kind of tapping her foot. She says, "Yes, you're Your bow could certainly use your bow arm could certainly use the practice. Very well. It was nice to meet you, Cole. I will be certain to contact you if I'm able to find out any more information about this Island of Fire.
Yeah, well, much appreciated. And if you ever need help with anything, let me know.
Certainly do that. All right, Godric.
Yeah.
You have just very dramatically presented your family sword to your grandfather, Aldrich Lex. He, his jaw kind of went slack as you did so, and he takes the sword from you, kind of scrutinizes your face a little bit, and he says, "Well, you have Wilhelm's chin, I suppose. Is he gone then?"
No, he's still in that sleepy little town that he runs his business in.
Yet you have the family sword.
He had it when you were still alive.
This is true. He kind of, examines the length of the sword and inspects it for dirt. You seem to have taken good care of it.
It was time for it to be passed on to me, and I've taken the responsibility seriously, sir.
And what is it you would have from me?
I do not know. I've only learned that something happened with our estate in the capital. For whatever reason you were brought here, I'm only looking to restore the family's honor.
He sighs heavily at this. That would be quite the undertaking. He hands the sword back to you.
I'll kind of sheath it as I rise to my feet.
He goes and sits heavily back in the chair that a chair by the desk.
I'll approach and put my hand down on the desk. Surely our family name didn't get where it did without great undertakings.
Well, wasn't so much great undertakings as it was years and years of labor and honoring one's word and treating well the people who under me. And yet somehow those years and years of honor have been cast aside for, well, and he just kind of looks away for a moment, for a brief amount of time's worth of mistakes.
If there's anything you can tell me about what happened, it might help me figure out what I can do to fix this.
He kind of stares off into the distance for a moment. Do you know of Ryokan?
What do I know about Ryokan? I don't think I know anything about it.
You do not, no.
Never heard the name before.
Well, okay. You roll a history check.
Oh, okay. Let's do this.
Okay. So Suferia has 4 main continents, right?
Right.
You are on Axorus, which
Okay.
which is here.
Right.
Raycon is this continent up in the northwest.
Oh, okay. Is that like the super mysterious one?
It is.
Okay.
And that's all you know about it. That's all that anyone you've ever talked to knows about it.
Alright, then let me rephrase. I haven't heard anything about it except for its name.
He nods. Neither has anyone. It is a bottomless pit of nothingness in terms of information. Now, it is a quarter of the landmass of our world, and nobody knows anything about it. Does that seem curious to you?
Extremely so, though. I always assumed it was just some sort of incredibly harsh dictatorial regime deciding to withhold all information. I don't know how they'd hold an area so large, but I figured they were managing it. Just theories we throw around, though.
He nods. He says, I initially thought that as well. It's sort of become a hobby of it sort of became a hobby of mine many years ago. It just intrigued me. I became curious why there was this bottomless pit that no light or knowledge existed about, and I began to research and reach out and talk to people. Not a single person I talked to knew about it. Well, it's not in the Lex family to give up so easily. So I continued to research and continued. In my 30 years of research, nobody I ever talked to knew anything of Raycon. Anybody who's ever taken a boat with passage there has never returned. People have tried to magically retrieve information about it. Failed. It seemed to me that this was a dangerous thing. And after many years of research and pondering this, I felt that it just should not be. That we have this huge section of our world that is so unknown to us. And so I began to reach out and cash in on some of the aforementioned good honor, and eventually built up, put together enough people that we were able to crew a large warship. 2 years ago, this warship set out and sailed for Raycon. He kind of swallows hard and looks at the ground. 150 soldiers. That ship was one of the finest ever seen in Jindala, bristling with armament.
I'll just shake my head slowly because I think I know what's coming.
It was never seen again. All those
150 men, you said?
all the promises that I made to people that this would be for the glory of Jindala, that that we needed to establish some sort of colony. That surely there was nothing on this continent that would withstand 150 soldiers. That we would at least get back some information. Nothing.
What could it even have been that would have stopped them? Force like that, so unlikely.
I do not know. I am at my wit's end, Godric. I have fought this fight for so many years. I give up. It has cost me much. Our family estate still exists, but much of the land has been given away. Our name has become a laughing stock because I tried to do the right thing.
Don't give up, grandfather. Pass it on. Let me take on this mission.
He kind of looks back up at you, and you kind of see his eyes glistening a little. He says, "This is more than one man can take on, I think. If you were to do this, you were going to somehow have to forge alliances once again, and after my failure, I fear it's going to be twice as difficult to convince anybody that this would be a wise endeavor."
Problem is that the way you planned it the first time seemed right. You had an unstoppable force, you had the best ship, and it still didn't work for some reason. We didn't learn nothing. We learned that that's the wrong approach. I'm not just one man. I'm one man with a desire, a yearning for hard work and steady dedication. Same way our family was built up the first time, we can do it again.
He nods. There is one thing I came across. There was a family back. Second, I always forget the name of this city. Un momento, por favor. It's the capital of Jindala. Zeba.
Zebra?
I'll get there. Jindala. Zebus. He says there was a family in Zebus who had a document that had been passed down for generations. They knew almost nothing of it, but all that was left was a single page with some drawings on it, and they knew that it was associated with Rayakhan. Took much convincing, but eventually I was able to get them to give me this parchment. And he kind of reaches inside his a pouch on his belt, and he pulls out this single piece of parchment. I don't know what to make of it or what to possibly do, but it has something to do with Rayakhan. And he hands it over to you, and all that's on the parchment are a bunch of just hand-drawn drawings, of various devilish looking creatures. Actually, that matches kind of what Sivan described to you, having horns and tails, and some of them have rather large, protruding looking fangs. They look very dangerous. Some of them are just they look to be enormous and incredibly frightening. That's it.
You know, a friend of mine earlier described something quite similar to this, and I'll if there's one that like is really close to the description, I'll point to it. Described something like this to me earlier today. Would you mind if I held on to this for a little while? If I'm truly to take up the cause, it might be useful to me as it was to you.
He says, "Please take it, Godric. I have nothing left to give to our family name. If this is my last offering, then so be it." And he hands the paper over to you.
I'll take it and bow my head. Thank you. It's dreadful that you've ended up working here. If I ever need to find you, where in the area might I expect you to be, other than this place? I just kind of look around, like, sadly at his little room here.
Yeah, he says, well, I did have enough funds that I have a small place in the city. He gives you directions, actually, to a spot near Sepaklu's. I can't remember if you've been to Sepaklu's. I think you have.
Yeah, I stayed the night there after the obstacle course thing.
Okay. So it's actually nearby there. Yeah, he gives you directions to there.
It's not far from a friend in the city that I'm at. He allowed me to stay with him last night. And if I learn anything new, if I make any headway on this, I will keep you appraised of my progress.
He puts a hand on your shoulder. He says, "Listen, Godric. If you can restore honor to the family name, it would bring me great joy. But do not sacrifice everything that I did. It's not worth it."
I will be mindful of my approach, but also resolute in my dedication to do whatever I can.
Good man, Godric. Wilhelm taught you well.
It's gonna be subtle, but like, you know, like when someone clenches their jaw real tight, and like you can see it like in their temples.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna like snap down real hard and just almost just like wait a moment of like actively not acknowledging that statement before I turn to leave.
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna just let you go.
Thank you. I hope that you'll be hearing from me soon. And I'll just...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll step out if he doesn't say anything.
So did the four? I assume that the four of you would have arranged some kind of rendezvous point, meeting back at Sepaklu's place, or
You're muted, Aramis.
No, I'm not.
liar.
To be
That
fair,
is
I'm
what I
not
do.
anymore. Yeah, I said, yeah, that'd be a good enough place, isn't he?
Did Savan not want to go to my apartment though? Would we find someplace else?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, the four of you meet back up. It is starting to approach sundown, which is when you had your invitation was for Lord Akaran's house. Is there any discussion you would want to have first?
I would like to request that we try and keep this as brief as possible.
The dinner?
Yes.
Why is that?
I think it would be very rude for me to show up in just my cloak. No? So I have about 2 hours.
That's fair. That's fair. So I scoped out the churches like you wanted, the temples. Haven't
And
really heard anything. No whispers about any sort of horned anything.
okay. Okay, good.
Miss Savan, I must ask you: had you seen
Yes.
any creature like the one you described before?
You could say that, yes.
Is there anything that you could tell me about?
Like what?
Where you might have seen it? What it might be?
I'm not sure what it is. Why?
I had a long talk today with my grandfather, and he showed me something. It looked very similar to what you described.
What did he show you?
I'll start to pull the. You said it was in like a little pouch. The page.
Your grandfather had it in a pouch, but he just gave you the parchment. So whatever you would have done with
Okay.
that.
I probably would have put in. I assume I had like a belt pouch or two.
Yeah.
I'll start undoing the pouch. I only ask you if I'm going to be asking more questions at this dinner. I'd like to be playing with the full deck so I can be as delicate in placing them as possible. And I'll produce the page and I kind of lay it out.
Does it look like me?
It does. Some of them do. Some of them look much more fantastical and frightening.
Okay. Where did he get this?
It's quite a long story, but he knows, or at least the person he got it from knew, that it came from Ryokan.
The drawing came from Ryokan.
That is what he had been told.
Because presumably someone saw these creatures there?
That was my understanding of it, though. Again, the origin of this piece of parchment is somewhat mysterious.
Okay.
Apparently, as part of a
Does,
larger book or collection, but this is all that remains of it.
do you know the title of the book?
If he knew, he did not tell me.
Okay. This is very interesting.
So again, where had you seen creatures similar to this?
I had seen it in a forest a long way from here.
Okay. Interesting. Can I insight check that?
Sure. Make a deception check. So
I'm supposed to be good at this. Hold on.
Can't be much worse than. Come on, crit fail.
So flash forward like a year, he'll never have beat her deception.
Ooh.
Barely.
All right, so it's not super relevant. Cool, that's fine. Good to know.
I had the one natural 20, and that's it for the
Mhm.
night,
Yep,
guys. That's
yep.
it.
You're not gonna get above 10 the rest of the night.
Probably not.
So
I'm
before
good
we-
if we want to. Sorry.
Before we go into this meeting, is there anything that you think we shouldn't bring up to him?
That
He
is a
didn't
good
seem
question.
like angry at the mention of Reslin, seemed almost kind of sympathetic.
Well, he seemed interested, which makes me nervous. He obviously knew something about him, which might put him on an upper hand on us. I hate when we go into situations where someone else has the upper hand.
I'm not a fan either. But I do not see what choice we have. If we want to get information, we need to tell him what we know.
Sorry, but speaking of upper hands and not being at a disadvantage, at least so I don't disclose anything that might be harmful to your cause. Who is this Reslin person in Nira? I never quite got an understanding from you all about what you're doing.
Oh. Well, we were hired by a man named Danvin Perch to investigate something surrounding his father's death. His father told him to find Nira, so we are trying to find out who that is. And he had some pages from a journal that we have now found out belonged to Reslin.
We
Stan,
can show him pages of the journal as well.
Hmm?
So we can show him the pages of the journal as well.
I do not know who has them, but sure.
One of us does.
One of us procures the journal pages and shows them to you.
Max, do you have access to those? I think you should.
are they in the journal page?
Yeah, Reslin's journal.
Yeah.
There's 3
Okay.
pages to it.
I see. Let's kind of chuckle. Seems like we keep needing books but can only find pages.
That definitely doesn't seem to be the case.
Uh-huh.
Well, as I informed you before, I have only the best intentions for your group, and though my own motives might lead me in a slightly different way, I'll be certain not to harm your objectives in my pursuit.
Insight.
So,
He only has best intentions. I'm just.
Okay.
should I roll like
Really best
persuasion, like that?
Yeah, persuasion or deception. I mean,
I'm being honest with that. Like
yeah,
the way I see it, because well,
yeah.
I feel like he doesn't believe me.
No, he.
Can't
Oh,
get a
no,
read.
how would that
Can't
work?
tell. Who can say?
Yeah, I mean, I would say
I think since it wasn't.
you don't see anything blatantly any blatant signs of deception. There's nothing. Godric's a pretty straightforward guy.
Okay.
Seems to say what's on his mind.
Which with this party, I think that makes them trust me less. How do you trust somebody who never lies to you? Come on.
All right.
Oh, it's the 2 criminals in the party who never trust anybody.
Whoa. I catch criminals. which makes me suspicious of everyone.
Uh-huh.
I'm just a criminal.
You don't have a bounty on your head as far as I know, so you're safe.
Okay.
That's because few enough people have seen her.
Oh, that's true.
You don't know.
That's true. I should check a bounty board for people wearing cloaks. Oh, wait. The way he said that. How long do we have until... How long until the dinner?
You. I mean, if you left now, you would be maybe an hour early.
Well, that would be rude.
So... It seems like if I was trying to, see if there was anything with Savan, I might check like my normal places, like
Mhm.
perhaps. Even though you just said that, which felt like something, maybe it's nothing, but I'm trying not to be meta here, Andrew.
You want to do like a retroactive, like you think you would have done this check before?
Yeah. If there was if it was on the way back, maybe.
So we'll say on. So there was the day when Sivan was not with you, and you went and checked that one bounty board. We'll say that while you were doing that, you also asked around. Plus, there was also, I mean, as part of the, we can say that as part of the checking that you did at the temple and with your soldier friends today, you could have also asked around. Nobody seems to have a cloaked figure. I mean, you don't. What else do you tell them about her that you're looking for? Just
Nothing.
a cloaked figure?
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, just seeing if there's been any rumbles about cloaked figures or horn figures.
Horned figures not. Cloaked figures, I mean, that's pretty vague, right? Like there are definitely, there have been some there are always criminal elements around, and some of them are the more sneaky type. Some of them are your brazen, bash open the front door and steal your stuff. But some of them are of the type that stick to the shadow and steal things staying out of sight.
Okay. So ignore all of that. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. We can fast forward back to current time.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you have about an hour to kill then.
There's something I would like to do for an hour. You guys got my shopping list, right, while you were gone?
Yes.
We would have, yes.
Yes. So if you guys could, find something to do for an hour, there's a few things I need to take care of.
Okay, sure.
And just meet back here in an hour?
Sure.
Great.
Well, this might be an hour. We could see if we want to do something with this, and I'll reach into my bag and pull out the manticore wing that I guess I've just been holding on to.
Okay.
How big is this manticore wing? Like, is he actually putting this in his bag, or is like strapped to his back?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of wadded it up a little bit, so it's not in great shape. Plus, there's some flesh associated with it, and that's definitely starting to have a bit of a stench.
Well, that is unpleasant.
Yeah. How late is it? Like not too late?
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half until sundown.
You might be able to take it to an apothecary. See if they can use it for anything. I'm not sure.
So, or this is a wing, probably not good for any kind of leather or anything like that. I'm assuming.
Probably not. I mean, took maybe if you defeathered it.
Oh, it's feather.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah, I
mean
was definitely
there are
thinking
feathers
like
on it.
dragging
I
it.
mean it's got there's a thin layer of skin under it, I would imagine.
It wasn't clear on if it was like a bat wing or like a bird wing, or I don't know.
No,
You make pillows.
it definitely has feathers. Yeah, and Cole probably wouldn't know either. So if you want to know, you'd have to probably ask around.
Maybe
Okay.
make a nice feathered cloak out of it or something like that.
Now you do know of the hide and seek. There was the tannery outside of town. Probably you'd probably be pushing it to get there, talk to them, and get back in an hour.
That's fair. So maybe another time from that. We'll probably leave this in your apartment if that's okay. You don't want to take this up to a noble's house for dinner.
That's probably for the best, yeah.
Oh, I thought this was potluck.
Although, yeah, we should probably find something to do with it tomorrow at the latest.
Should we bring something? Is that something that you do?
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I can't imagine that someone in his position would, want people bringing their own food. It seems like the type of thing you would have catered.
That
I
is valid.
have the noble background, and I know if like a bottle of wine or something is customary.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I wouldn't say customary. It would be something that would. It would be a nice touch, but it wouldn't be like expected.
Okay. Yeah. Is there something that would be customary, or is it just like that's a nice token?
No, there's. I mean, no, there's nothing specific.
I'll stop off on our way up there then and drop a couple gold onto a bottle of something.
Okay. All right, easily done.
I feel like what, like 3 gold would be a nice bottle.
Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so Sapaklu, where are you headed?
Nowhere. I'm heading into
We
my
are leaving.
apartment. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna quit the party. See ya. Close my eyes.
Oh, so you wanted to send them away somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to cast Find Familiar in the sort of while they're going because it takes
Okay.
an hour to cast, right?
Gotcha. So then, where are the 3 of you going? He's kicking you out of his house.
Right.
I would probably go to a tavern and
Okay.
get a drink.
All right.
You
Yeah.
could go buy the booze
Yeah,
while
sure.
you're.
Yeah, I'd stop off and get my bottle of wine and then just head to whatever tavern to, I guess.
Okay.
I don't think wine buying takes more than an hour.
No, definitely not. Okay. So you cast Find Familiar, and what form does your familiar take?
I'll message you.
Okay.
And then once you approve it, then it may come out later.
Okay, got it. All right.
It's
So
a flea, I know it.
A flea?
Yeah.
um,
The stealthiest of familiars.
All right. Yeah, because it runs away. Flee. Never mind. Ba-dum-bum. Wow, I would have expected that from Derillium, not. You know. Anyway, all right. Well, we don't need to belabor the hour and a half that it takes to that you kill and then to get down to the the rich part of town. But you arrive back at the platform on the lightning rail at the in the district where you previously went, and this time at the as you get off of the lightning rail and the two guards are there. It's a different two guards this time, but you also see standing there Captain Jasher Raid. This is the man that you met out on the road on the way back to Mindrin, who you showed the Manticore wing to begin with. He's got kind of... Sorry, I have a typo in my notes that's pretty funny. He's got a scar across his face. I wrote down scar across one face.
Oh.
What's on his other face?
Yeah.
He's just dishonest. He's very two-faced.
He's got a scar across his face, rugged features, very tanned and muscled. Tends to kind of fidget with the scar. But yeah, he meets you there at the platform.
Before I get off the train, I'm going to cast Disguise Self.
Okay.
And I would like to keep track of time very well.
Okay.
Can I tell she's casting something?
Are you trying to hide it, Sivan?
Yes. Sleight of hand?
Yeah, sleight of hand. Yes, this would be against your passive perception, Godric.
Right.
Which a 9 is
I
not
knew
going
it
to
was
beat.
gonna happen.
Mine's 12.
Cool. Great. Love it.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So you notice.
Yeah.
That she casted something, not what
Right.
she casted,
Right.
right?
Yeah. I would have no idea what it was. Just taking note of it.
Okay. So you all approach, and Captain Raid is there. He says, he kind of inclines his head. He says, "It is good to see you again."
Sir, and I'll nod my head back.
Please, right this way. And he moves to escort the four of you to Lord Rakaran's house.
I will do my best to look like a distraught mother who has just lost her child.
Make a performance check.
Oh no!
Come on, you gotta roll above a 10 at some point.
+0.
Good.
I rolled a 10.
As you say that.
Okay. Okay.
You're just the
So-
average distraught mother.
Yeah, you all head down into the sort of residential district, and I mean, these are gorgeous homes. Raid brings you to this 2-story mansion with this very beautiful looking flower bed out front, and brings you to the front door. A butler answers the door and immediately recognizes Captain Raid, who does not come into the house. He's going to stand outside, just kind of stand watch. but the butler escorts the four of you into like a sitting room where you see Lord Urkaran, whom you met before, and with him is an older-looking human woman who you can see very clearly has lines all across her face, very up there in years. Short, silvery hair. Yes, sure, Cole. There's a straw hat by the door, or a hat rack by the door. Yeah, she's got kind of big, bushy eyebrows and like a very kind-looking face. The two of them stand as you enter. The butler, he kind of announces you all as Iron Eye and company, and because it's all that they have, and then he turns back to you and gestures and says, "Lord and Lady Urkaran." And
I'll bow.
they stand, and Urkaran says, "Welcome, welcome to our home. It's a pleasure. Please, and he kind of gestures to some rather posh-looking seats there. Please have a seat."
Well, thank you. Take a seat.
All right.
I will sit.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's-
Sit down.
He says, "Before we get down to business, as you are guests in our home, please just would love to get to know you. Tell us a little bit about yourselves."
Just gonna go around the table.
However you would like to do it.
Sure. Well, I'm Cole, as I guess I was introduced. Just I guess as you say, a country boy out here, fairly new to the city, and trying to get the hang of everything here with these fine folks.
Excellent. And certainly the farming community is a very integral part of the life of Mindrin and all of Jindala. All the farms out to the west are the heart and soul of Jindala, if I may say so. And so your work is much appreciated. What brings you into the city?
This is me out of character trying to decide what to say. Well, recently I guess came up with a kind of magic, I guess you could say, and I'm trying to figure that out.
Interesting. A late bloomer in terms of magic. It's not a terribly common thing.
Seems that way.
He kind of he just kind of acknowledges that. And he turns to Godric and you, sir.
Yes, well, as we spoke briefly before, I'm here on a mission to restore honor to my family name, and I happened upon these fine fellows on the road.
He nods. He says, "Well, that will certainly be an uphill climb for you, won't it?"
Do you ever climb anywhere but up?
He grins at that. Well said. Well, I certainly wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, but the good Lord Benton on my side, luck is not scarce.
Very well. And he turns to you, Sivan. And what of you? The mysterious cloak.
I would have taken it down.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah. Out of character question, did I ever give them my name?
I don't believe that you did. He did not ask.
Okay.
He did not ask your names originally.
Okay. So with a glance at Godric, I will say I am Malia. I am rather new to town as well. Only got here about a month ago. And I have been finding work with an adventuring guild.
He turns to his wife and no, sorry, he's not gonna do that. Sorry. He says, "Very well." So how have you found the adventuring life? Besides your, kind of hesitates a little bit. Besides your recent loss.
Well, it has been difficult. At first, it was very difficult to balance, but I suppose that's not really an issue anymore. But it.
Sorry.
Fuck.
Get some Casey Anthony vibes over here.
It has proved very interesting, for sure.
I imagine so. The life of the adventurer is not for everyone, but I can't imagine it would be boring.
Certainly not.
And he turns to you, Sepaklu.
Sepaklu Iron Eye. I spent some time in the military as a scout for a while, and after that, I more recently have been bounty hunting. Getting the bad people where they belong in jail. And then now I feel like it sort of itched my neck a little bit around the scarf. I feel like the adventuring life is my next step.
Well, you certainly are a very interesting collection of folks. It is a pleasure to have you. And Lenorin speaks up for the first time, and she says, "Yes, I thank you for coming. I'm very eager to hear your story and what you know of Nira." And about that time, the butler returns and he says, "If you would all step this way, dinner is served." To another very fine, fancy room, big, long dining room, a dining room table, and yeah, very fine food is set out, and drink. The butler takes your the wine that you brought, Godric, and he looks at it slightly snobbishly, but he says, "Very kind of you, sir." And he he goes to take it to the back and prepare it. Definitely not pour it out.
Of course.
He's aerating it.
Yes.
Is that what you do?
Just gonna let it aerate in this bucket.
In this
Drains are good for aerating things.
Just dumps it off the side of the disc.
Well, you guys are not. You guys are not up on the platform. This is below the platform.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. The platform basically just has that one building that the council members conduct their business, and then the little attached building. The residential is all on the ground floor.
I made the assumption too that we were up there.
Oh, yeah, that's my fault.
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Bad DM.
And
So
now Cole dies. Anyways.
yeah, so the food is served, and you all dive in, and Lenoran says, "Please, tell me what do you know of my daughter, Nira?"
So, I guess from the beginning. Sorry.
You may swallow your potatoes first.
Potato.
Right. Very good. Thank you. We were hired by a guy named
Dan Van Perch.
Dan Vin Perch. After his father, Creed, passed away, and he'd left something in his will about a Nira. And the kind of breadcrumb trail we could find from there led to, I suppose it's your daughter.
She definitely reacts when you say the name Creed.
Can I insight and see what that is? What that reaction is?
Yeah, go ahead.
And we all
Roll 2, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you're all studying her pretty closely.
So you think that Creed is a 2015 American boxing sports film directed by Ryan Coogler?
Look at that!
Oh boy.
Guys! I rolled above a 10! This is a momentous occasion.
I guess I'll roll, even though I don't really have the full context for this. But
there's definitely a. I mean, she knows. She definitely knows who Creed is. There's a moment of, like, sort of a "what did he do?" sort of a thing. Sort of a thing. Sort of a thing. Sorry, I clicked on something I shouldn't have clicked on. Yeah, there's some, I don't want to say anger, but there's definitely some distaste in her mouth from as you mentioned, Creed. She looks at you, Cole, and she says, "You say Creed left this Danvin something related to Nira?"
I believe that, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that he told his son to find Nira.
To what end?
I do not know.
You do know a little more than that. Are you purposely withholding that?
Oh, do I?
Yeah, so Creed had told Danvin that she was the love of his life.
Yeah, I remembered that.
Okay. Um.
But-
All right. Seeing the reaction that she had to Creed's name,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably stick with that.
All right, roll a deception check.
Mm.
You got this.
Are you kidding me?
Double natural ones.
Wow. That's pretty good.
It's like honestly impressive.
It's not a good night for you.
It's
Do I
role-playing
have good
opportunity.
nights?
Not in
So
this campaign.
okay, so you said sorry, what was
I
it
do
that you
not.
said? You didn't know. That's right. You said you didn't know why he wanted to find her.
Yeah.
She kind of looks across the four of you and she says, "I feel that you are holding something back. Please, this is my daughter. I need to know. I need to know what you know."
I'll hold up a finger. I'm sorry, ma'am, but in the time that I've known these people, they've been nothing but good and honest. If that's what they say that they know, it is certainly the case. And I'm sure you did not mean to, but any insinuation of dishonesty from them is honestly quite amusing to me at this point.
We are entirely honest, especially that Savon. She's a saint.
Especially me, guys.
I've yet to beat you in one of your deception checks, so
No, I think you did at the end of the game.
She says, I'm not accusing you of lying, but I get the feeling there's more to this story."
We're sorry, that is absolutely true. And I'll take out the 3 pages of journal and provide them to her. I'll spread them across the table in front of her.
These
Aw,
Creed gave these to Danvin.
Yeah.
She gets up and walks out of the room. Um, Lord Urkarin is kind of looking wide-eyed. May I see those? And he's already reaching to pick them up off the table. And he looks through them. Please, excuse me a moment. And he goes to check on Lenore.
Can I insight why she got up and left?
Yeah, go ahead. You can certainly try.
I can try, sure. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
look at that. She has a very strong theory about why Creed had those journal entries. And I mean, it was definitely not like a temper tantrum. It was she was sort of overcome by emotion, brought on by this theory of
Gotcha.
of what happened.
I want to turn to the party. I am certain that though my honor was misplaced in vouching for you in this moment, you must have had good cause to be withholding information from a concerned mother. I never assumed that it would happen, considering your similar disposition to her own.
I'm
But
sure she just forgot that we had the pages. Godric.
Of course, I completely understand how it's excusable. I would just like to stay for future reference. I did not intend to injure any of you by my misstatement.
That is quite all right.
It's understandable.
Also, I love how you're like, they've never lied when I gave them a fake name.
And I'm going to talk to you about that later. I have a theory. I'm just like, see customers.
There's going to be a lot of talks later, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I need to stop handicapping my character's understanding of the world in general.
All right. So it's just about 8:30. Why don't we go ahead and take our break here? Then we will come back in about 5 minutes and see what Lady and Lord Rakaran have to say for themselves.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. See you in a few minutes. All right. Sorry, more than 5 minutes for me. We ready to go? I will take that as a no.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, you're the only one there.
It was good. Cat's cradle right there.
Thanks.
All right. Ready to dive back in?
I think we're still waiting on the paladin again.
Oh. There he is.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, what about paladins again?
They're so much fun.
Your ceiling just looked so great.
Thank you. Very proud of the ceiling. A lot of work went into it.
Ken, we lost your camera.
I didn't.
I've got Ken's camera.
I
Oh.
didn't.
Maybe it's just me.
No, I was trying to refresh because I couldn't see Mac, and now I can't see you, Andrew.
Hmm.
I am like
Hey,
on
you
the
guys.
hardcore struggle bus with camera.
Just love how all this technology works perfectly with no weird errors
yeah.
or hiccups ever.
Ever.
That's right.
Ever. Okay, well, I see everybody but Ken. Stream sees everybody but Ken.
Can confirm the stream sees everybody but Ken.
Okay, so dive back in. Later. So, Lady Urkarin storms back in. And she is clearly fuming. She says, "Where can we find this Danvin perch?"
We are very sorry if this upset you, Lady Erkarin. However, as his, not employees, but people who have been hired by him, we are not necessarily at liberty to give out his location to someone so obviously very angry at him.
Yeah, and so Lord Urkarin has comes into kind of behind her, trailing behind her, and she turns back to him and she says, "We need to detain this man. I believe that his father killed Nira, and he owes us reparations for." And she can't continue at that point. And Lord Urkarin kind of has his hand on her shoulder, and he says, "This is a very serious charge, dear. We need more information before we can level such a." And she interrupts and she says, "Maybe you need more information, but we can get it from him. We need to find him now."
Lady Erkarin, if I may, I understand that this is very difficult for you. However, before Creed told Danvin to find Nira, Danvin had never heard the name before, as far as I am aware. That is why he hired us, because he did not know of any of this. I
No, he did
I do not know.
His father, Creed, knew my daughter, Nira. I believe he's the
And
one who killed her.
His father, Creed, is dead.
Very well, then the son will pay for the sins of the father.
Even though he had no idea what the sins were.
At the very least, this was to be Nira's inheritance. I thought that it was lost. And if it's not, and if he has it, then the only logical conclusion is that Creed, for some reason, somehow, took this inheritance from Nira. Why else would he have these journal entries describing where exactly the inheritance lies and how exactly to retrieve it?
Does it say how to retrieve it in the pages?
It does, but it's like blotted out in places. Cole would kind of pipe up. Well, that's kind of what we're trying to find out. And
What's what you're trying to find out?
Well, exactly how all this connects.
She sits back down kind of in a huff. Reslin had this vault built. It was being built before Nira was born, before we knew that we were to have a daughter. We were going to name her Nero, which is why the journal entries name her such. When we had a daughter instead of a son, well, we named her Nira, and Reslin was disappointed. You're muted if you're talking to us, Max.
No, sorry.
Okay.
That was side.
Okay.
Now, when this happened, Reslin had put in certain safeguards for the vault, as described in the document. In the journal entries, he was to identify himself as Reslin's son, and that would be sufficient to bypass the enchantment and allow him to retrieve his inheritance. However, obviously, that didn't work for Nira. It seemed that her inheritance was lost because of the great folly of having been born a daughter instead of a son. Now, when Nira grew up, she was an adventurous sort, much like her father, and when she came of age, of course, she wanted to retrieve this inheritance, and she went and sought out this vault, but wasn't able to get in because she was not the son of Reslin. Honestly, I thought that was the end of it. I thought that her inheritance was lost by his foolishness, and that Nira had given up on it. However, she was despondent for a while after that, and wound up. Sorry. She wound up spending a lot of time getting drunk with fools and just wasting time generally, including with this Creed. eventually, she stopped. She at some point she didn't come home. When I went looking for her, she told me that she had left to go off in search of her own adventure. That she'd left town and would come back eventually. But obviously, she never did. Clearly, if he had the means to find this vault, he must have figured out some way to get in himself and take her inheritance for his own.
With all due respect, you are jumping to a lot of conclusions there. There seems to be very much that none of us know about this. And I think that before we
She's just like staring
after-
very coldly at you. Go ahead.
I think before that we go after Creed's son, we should perhaps try to find more specifically what happened.
What are
And
you
perhaps-
suggesting?
What makes you think Creed killed her?
He was in possession of the very journal entries that describe how to obtain her inheritance. She mysteriously disappeared and never returned. What other conclusion could I draw from it?
You said she was an adventurous type, wanting
Perhaps
to
she was
strike out
seeking-
on her own.
Perhaps she was seeking his help.
Creed's dying words were "find Nira," so he didn't seem to think that she was dead.
The words of a guilty conscience of a dying man.
I don't think so. We did some following up on where he resided and supposed drunk, as they say, and he spoke about her and said she was the love of his life.
Her face just twists in anger when you say that, and she says, he wishes.
Seems that way. If she left him, then yeah.
With nothing else, she turns back to Lord Urkarin. We need to bring this man Danvin in for questioning. We don't have to charge him, but we should find out more. And Lord Urkarin turns back to the rest of you and he says, this seems reasonable to me. Do you know where we can find this man?
If we tell you this, you need to give us your word that he will not be unjustly detained, and in return, we can give you our services in locating Nira should she be alive.
I would also ask that you allow us to notify him before you barge into his home that you will be coming to ask him some questions.
Well, and Sivan, your hour is just about coming to an end.
If you will excuse me, where is the restroom?
And she directs you down the hall.
Okay, so I'll go into the bathroom, cast disguise self again, come back out, run the
Refresh the
water,
makeup.
flush the toilet, wash my hands, and then I'll go.
question: do they have indoor plumbing in this
Yeah.
world?
Okay.
Andrew, what's
I
the
will
bathroom
use the
situation,
chamber
please?
pots.
I don't know. Maybe they do.
Or there's wizards. Do they do the J.K. Rowling thing where they just go and then magic it away?
Some Romans had like rudimentary, indoor plumbing.
They also have electric trains, so
Right.
It's
Wow.
not electric. It's lightning.
It's magic.
Mad
Lightning.
electric.
Majectric. Sure.
Mad electric. Woogie 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 woogie.
Oh boy. Wow.
I make it seem like I use the bathroom and then I leave.
Fair enough. All right. Sorry, where were we? So, yeah.
I want to roll inside it if I think she actually used the bathroom.
So, Lord Akaran says, Captain Raid will accompany you to find the Stanvin. You may go and speak with him first, but he will remain with you, and after you inform him of the situation, then he will need to come back with the captain and answer some questions. Is this agreeable?
I think so, yes.
I think that is fair.
Very well.
Very well.
This evening has taken a turn.
I'm sorry it couldn't be the nice dinner that we were expecting.
He turns to Lenorin. He says, "You know where this vault is?" She says, "I do." He says, "Would you also allow for a company of soldiers to go and inspect the vault to see if it was tampered with or if somebody did in fact break into it?" And she says, "That seems reasonable." Yeah, I'm just leaving a pause in case one of you wanted to jump in there.
It'd be a good call. I really doubt that Creed or Danvin could have gotten to it based on how they were living.
He says, "Well, it's worth investigation." Very well. I will have after Captain Raid returns with his Danvin, I will have him also send a group of soldiers to that location. Well, yeah, it's kind of an awkward part of dinner now, where like, nah, you're still kind of finishing your meal, but like, it's definitely a little bit tense in the room.
I'll try to make somewhat convincing and interested small talk. I'll ask. People love to talk about themselves. I'll ask your Karn if he has any side projects or hobbies that he enjoys working on.
He says, "Well, I have been working on some arcane skills," and he kind of holds out a hand, and you see a bit of purple flame flicker above it. Just sort of as a side hobby. It's in the city of Mindrin. It always is a bit bit respectable to have some knowledge of magic.
Of course, believe our friend here is exploring that expansion himself as well. Of course, as I understand it, learning it and feeling it are slightly apart. I'd say what I do is also a bit more of feeling it.
He nods. And yes, unfortunately, it's not something that I was necessarily born with, but over time, I've been able to get some understanding of how to tap into um, these magical forces and make use of them.
But I suppose that is your benefit. You gained an understanding. I always felt a strong connection to Benton and prayer, and it's begun to manifest itself outside of prayer and what I need it. And it's been growing stronger, but quite frankly, it's concerning to me.
Concerning how?
I'm not quite sure that it is a holy source I draw this power from, that it is divinity being granted upon me for a reason that, quite frankly, I can't comprehend. It's just something that began to happen.
What other source do you think it might be?
I don't know, I understand that jumping too quickly to conclusions can lead people to proceed on faith with misinformation. Believe in skepticism, slightly, as it were.
Are you sure about that? Nothing is good at skepticism, but he has tried.
I know, just again, I act on the faith. It's just I'm not quite sure that I fully believe that my Lord has decided just to smile upon me yet. I quite honestly, worship, faith, devotion, it's always been a difficult, trying endeavor, and when I channel this force to help the hurt or heal the sick, cure the dying even, it makes me feel really good. It's not been my experience with prayer.
He nods. He says, everyone's path to understanding the gods is different. I can see where it can be confusing, and I myself have taken more the path of Frolin and taking an independent approach to tapping into the power that exists within Sephiria, independent of the direct communing with nature or prayer to the gods. Since they have walled themselves off from us to some extent, I believe that it's important that the people of Sephiria can arm themselves with whatever tools are at their disposal.
But I prayed because it was good and right to pray. I never asked for a tool to be put before me to use, and it simply appeared one day.
So it was a sudden thing for you.
There were, in retrospect, what I thought might be indicators now, but when I first really tapped into this power, I was completely at odds with myself.
And what of the rest of you? Are you also followers of any particular deity?
Not particularly.
I am a follower of Wilena.
His eyebrows raise.
Yes, I understand that's not the best position to be in at the moment.
But it does not. You kind of hesitate. Does not necessarily imply any guilt.
Honestly, I am appalled by what has been going on, and I wish that there was something I could do to stop it.
Appalled at the actions of those who claim they are following the will of Wilena, or appalled at the
Yes.
attempts to quell such actions.
I am appalled at the corruption of the message of my goddess.
Is it though? Wilena asks that
I
we be free, yes?
Yes.
If we are free, then what use is it to follow the law? Why not destroy and cause chaos uh and do whatever we wish?
Because that infringes upon the freedom of other people. Freedom is not just for the followers of Wilena, it is for everyone.
Perhaps, but for many, I fear that freedom means doing what you like, regardless of the consequences.
And that is unfortunate.
It is indeed. Well, we thank you for coming this evening and enlightening us as to what you found, and I will go and give Captain Raid his instructions, and he will accompany you back to wherever you might find Stanvin. He's gonna step out of the room to find Captain Raid.
Okay.
Nice.
Lenorin looks to you, Sivan, and she says, "Sorry if I came off rude. I'm sure that you can understand, as a grieving mother yourself. I just want
No apologies are necessary.
to know all the information of what happened to my Nira.
I understand.
Your daughter died recently?"
Yes, it's very fresh. I would prefer not to talk about it.
I understand. Well, no doubt that if the circumstances were mysterious, you would make every effort to find out what you could and bring them to justice.
I would. I understand that.
Trying to get better about keeping a straight face during these conversations. All right, and so Lord Urkarin comes back in with Captain Raid, and like he is ready to escort you all out.
thank you again for the invitation. I will stand up and bow, maybe? Is that what we do?
Sure.
Or at least incline my head
Yeah.
politely,
Yeah.
and I will go to follow.
My lord, my lady. And I'll walk out.
Okay.
Thanks for the meal. Head out, grab my hat.
It was a pleasure to dine.
And thank you for the wine. That was a very thoughtful touch.
Thank you.
Did we actually drink any of it?
No. Trying to decide
They're
if
still
I
letting
should...
it aerate.
Yes, yeah. All right. So, head back toward the lightning rail, and Captain Raid says, "So, where are we headed to?"
We are headed to, and I don't remember where he lives. As we get on the lightning rail, I am going to pull my hood up.
Is it just down to the other residential district, I suppose?
The other side of the lightning rail.
Yeah.
All right. So you show him where Danvin's house is, then?
Yeah, I guess. Sorry,
Alright.
kiddo.
So
And I'd say to him, so I don't think you'll need to bring handcuffs or whatever to arrest him. He'll just come and chat, I'm sure.
And we are going in to speak to him first, as we discussed.
he says, "You may briefly, but if there is anything, well, just keep it brief."
Sure.
Sure.
All right. So you you go and knock on Danvin's front door. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean Captain Raid stands nearby, like kind of a little bit behind you, but he's definitely like within earshot.
I'll stand back with Captain Raid. This is not really my rodeo at all.
And Danvin opens the door and he oh, you've returned. I was worried that the Manticore had been too much for you.
Oh, no,
But I knew
we
that
got
that was silly. But you know, I and he kind of looks past you. Oh, hello. Is looking at both Godric and Captain Raid.
We have a couple
Hello.
of things we need to discuss with you.
Good news. We have a lead.
Excellent. Where is
we
Aldum?
He decided that
City life wasn't for him.
I
Yeah,
forget
that's
what he
pretty
said.
accurate.
He decided that his path lied elsewhere than with us.
I see. Well, please come in. Come in. I'm eager to hear what you've learned.
So actually, might need to keep this brief. We actually found Nira's mother, and she was curious about what she'd heard and wanted to see if she could ask you some questions as well.
So you're saying this there in the door, or do you go in first?
I would start
Let-
saying this in the door.
Oh.
And if he tries to lead us inside, I'd kind of keep chatting as he leads.
Okay. But you found her mother. Who is she?
Lady Arkaran.
Lord Akaran's wife.
Yes. Nira disappeared a long time ago, and Lady Arkaran believes her to be dead. And
Wow.
she would like to ask you some questions about your father.
He is starting to kind of put two and two together. Wait a minute. Does she think my father had something to do with her death?
She does. And we are trying very hard to dissuade her from any rash actions. And we are looking into it to find out what really happened.
Well, that's... oh. I need to retcon something.
Okay?
At the dinner, they would have wanted to keep those journal entries with them. Would you have allowed that, or would you have protested?
No.
Shoot.
Jump back time.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that Lydia Curran would have just, I mean, they were in front of her. She would have just kind of gathered them back up.
Well, I guess they were her husbands. I would have deferred to the group, perhaps.
I don't know that we could charismatically prevent that without getting real awkward.
Yeah. Okay, so then maybe we let her keep them.
Okay.
Are you gonna remove them from our stuff here so we can't see them anymore?
Yes. You don't have them anymore.
Ah,
Cool.
shit. I regret having only briefly glanced at them.
So now I benefit from having my first page and a half of notes from the session, having copied that.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And you get to
In
decide
character,
whether...
did you?
I was gonna say, you get to decide whether in character Cole would remember all that.
He wouldn't.
Sivan might.
We'll see. Depends on how
Unless
well
they
you roll.
change it.
Okay, so he, Damden says, sorry, I lost the thread. He says, so, yeah, when do they want to meet to ask me questions? I don't know what I can really provide them.
As soon as possible, I'm guessing. Based on how emotional Lenorn was acting.
Wait a minute, those guards out there, they were for me?
Oh, well, the one on the left there, that's Godric. He's someone we met along the road, and he's a good fellow. But the other guy, yeah, he's here to make sure that you come along. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll put you in any handcuffs or anything. Just there.
His eyes
Panicking.
get big as you say that.
Whoa, Cole. You know, this is just how the nobles do things. They like things quickly. They have a little bit of muscle, but really, Danvin, there's nothing to worry about.
Make a persuasion check.
How about a deception check?
Do you really believe there's nothing to worry about?
Uh, hmm.
I'll let you decide
Hmm.
which it is.
I think no, they gave us their word, right? Yeah, they gave us their word that they weren't going to hurt him, so persuasion's fine. Oh,
Yeah, they gave us their word, but they also said sins of the father. So
right. Well, it wouldn't have helped anyway. That was a nat one. So enjoy this panicking guy.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to um he's definitely starting to get pretty nervous. Um
it's
he
all right. We got your back on this, okay?
you actually see him start to like almost hyperventilate, like can't believe this is happening. This
Um,
good.
calm down. Before we do anything else, do you know if your father left you anything else that might be related to adventuring? Or I guess you would have already thought about Nira.
Those journal entries were all I have. Can you find this place and go there and
We're getting it checked out just to make sure that it's all there.
Yes, we have support from the Erkarin family to go uh, make sure that everything is still as it should be.
hey, well, all right. You can tell he's definitely starting to really. He's definitely nervous, but I mean, he's gonna comply.
Danven, I hate to ask this of you, but is there a chance that your father was involved with her disappearance? Do you think?
He um he looks at you and he says, "My mother and father." I don't know whose mic that was. He says,
Calm down, Godric.
"My mother and father did not have the best of marriages. They, I don't know what it was, but they they didn't fight all the time, but it was they weren't they weren't the couple that you see walking down the road late in life, holding hands and still clearly in love. But when he spoke of Nira, that love was real. There's not a doubt in my mind. There's no way he would have hurt her."
In that case, I see no reason for you to be worried.
He swallows hard. I just have to convince them of that. Well, guess there's no time like the present. We'll head off to Captain Raid. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's gonna basically lock up the house and just go, unless any of you are gonna interpose anything.
I would interpose if Captain Raid starts to put him in handcuffs or anything. But apart from that, no.
If that starts to happen, I'd act too.
He does not put him in handcuffs, but he does kind of take his arm, not like grabbing it, but he does not want to lose track of him.
Understandable.
All right. Well, it's starting to get late by now. What do you want to do?
I want to see where this goes. But I understand if some people have to call it.
No. It's getting late.
He means
It's
in
late
game.
in the day in game.
Okay.
Oh.
They left. Like, you guys wouldn't have gone with them unless you particularly wanted to.
I thought that was what we were doing.
Yeah, I would have.
That's why
I would have gone with unless they told us not to.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you all start to follow then, and Captain Raid turns back to you and he says, well, I will take it from here. I will see that he is escorted to a guard place and is we take his statement and your services are no longer required.
With all due respect, you did hire us and we're invested in this. I'd like to make sure that this all goes smoothly for his sake and I suppose my own natural curiosity.
Persuasion check.
There we go.
Well, I suppose you were the one to bring this to your current's attention. It's highly unusual, but I suppose you may come up.
Much obliged.
All right, so yeah, what's that?
Side eyes. He kind of side eyes Savon. You feeling too tired for this, you think?
I think perhaps it would be better if I stayed behind.
Okay. So the three of you then are going with the captain and Danvin.
Yes, so.
And where are you heading? So
I would go to an inn.
Okay. All right.
I would also make plans to meet up with them at some point.
Okay. All right. So I think that we don't necessarily need to belabor this. The guards are going to question Danvin and yeah, I think that he doesn't know a lot, obviously. He tells them what he knows of his father. He, seems to be honest. Basically, at this point, they can't make anything stick, though they're very suspicious. But they can't. They don't have enough to hold him or really charge him with anything. And so I think it's a long evening of questioning, but essentially to no avail.
Okay.
And they
So-
let him go at the end of the night then.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
I guess.
And there it is.
So who dies?
Nobody yet.
Yet.
Oh god.
So I suppose if they let us, we walk him back to his house, make sure he gets there safely.
Yeah, and you know, he's pretty rattled. This is not the direction he was expecting this to go, but you know, he comes back to his house, and he says, "Well, I mean, you all have you have done far above and beyond what I could have asked of you. I'm grateful for your assistance, even though he just kind of trails off. Like, I was not expecting it to go where it did.
We sorry for the scare, everything, but we're getting closer to whatever caused it, wherever this all connects.
To be fair, if you had expected it to go this way, that would be quite suspicious. Gotta say with a bit of a smile.
He chuckles half-heartedly, but not very completely. Very well. Well, if you ever need anything of the messenger service, please come in and find me.
We'll do so, and we'll let you know as soon as we find anything else out.
Very well. All right. So, we'll calling it a night back at Sophocles, I guess.
Yep. Back at the IRNI HQ.
Alright.
As long as I'm still welcome there.
And Sivan, you're getting your room and just going to bed for the night.
Well, would we have arranged to meet that night or in the morning, do you think?
It's up
I
to
don't
you.
know if we would have known how long this would take, so
So then probably in the
I'd
morning.
lean towards morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we'd
Yeah.
set up a contingency, like if something happened, like we'd find you or something, but
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So next day?
Not just yet. So
Okay.
Cole,
I don't like that.
Putting my spell slots back, but I guess not.
not just yet. Cole, you're on the streets of Egard. You're smelling the fresh country air. It's not quite like back home, but it's certainly more open than Mindrin. You're laughing as Joseph is giving you a hard time about something, you know, like he always does. You wander off down the street in search of some particular equipment. You know what you're looking for. There are stands set up everywhere, people selling food, and there are performers out on the street just trying to make a little coin. You make your way down the street, and you spot a robed figure standing by a mysterious-looking cart. About this time, you feel a familiar sense of dread rising up in you as you recognize what's about to happen. A flash of light, then the smell, the screams. There are flames everywhere. You look back at the strange cart and you see the robed figure again, but this time his hood is down. And you realize this is the face of the man that you saw on the street yesterday. You recognize it. The scene suddenly shifts, and now you're standing back on the street in Mindrin, and Sivan is next to you, and the two of you are kind of gawking at the man. And suddenly, Sivan next to you bursts into flames as well. You go to cry out to look for help, and as you look around, suddenly Supaklu is there as well, and Godric and Aldum and Haster, they're all standing right there next to you, all bursting into flames. You look around in just absolute horror, and suddenly everything freezes. Like time suddenly stops. You look around and there are still flames on all of your friends, but the flames themselves have frozen in place. You look down and see Aldum's body frozen in sort of mid-writhe on the ground. And you feel this powerful strength rise up within you. What do you do?
Can I try to control the flames and pull them away?
You stretch out a hand and focus, and it almost looks like more flames come from your hand, but they cover up the existing flame that that's over Aldum, and it's almost like it comes back to your hand, almost like the reverse of a fire casting spell. And Aldum is back up on his feet and seems to be healed up.
I will try to do the same to the rest of my friends.
You do, as you sort of spread your hands, and in one all-encompassing gesture, all of the flames in the surrounding street kind of are sucked back to you. One massive movement, and just as they all sort of hit you and coalesce at once on you, you wake up in your bed in the middle of the night, all sweat and gasps. Sivan,
I'm such an asshole. But yes,
wait, what?
I'm such an
didn't know?
asshole for
What?
making him
Oh,
For making me think I burned her alive.
kill me. But yes,
Sivan, you are running through the trees in darkness. You look up to see if there's even a moon, but the canopy of the trees is blocking that. You feel sweat kind of trickling down your side, and that spot on your face is slowly pulsing from the exertion as you run among the trees. You glance back over your shoulders and you see torches glittering among the trees behind you, and you know that they're still coming. You burst out from the tree line and you immediately come to a stop at the top of a cliff, kind of windmilling your arms to stop from going over. You turn back and the crowd bursts out of the trees after you. You see the four people from the library, and Danvin, and Godric, and Aldum, and Cole, and Sipaklu, all you see their faces just contorted in anger and all accusation. You're backing even closer to the edge as they are approaching with their torches held out and weapons. And you hear a whisper, "There's a reason it's called a leap of faith." What do you do?
I jump.
You turn and leap off of the cliff, and instead of plummeting, you find yourself soaring through the air. Gravity never seems to kick in, and you are soaring on the back of an enormous dove.
I'd like to throw a javelin.
You're not there.
You said I was there.
As this dove takes off and you're gripping on tightly, you look around, Sivan, and you realize that your friends who you thought were on the ground chasing you are actually there on the back of the dove with you. Godric and Cole and Sipaklu are all there holding on to you and holding you onto the dove, helping you to keep a grip. You look back down at the ground once more as it's falling away, and you still see an angry mob, but it's just faceless, doddering old fools yammering like spin-up toys. You hear the voice whisper in the back of your mind again, "Take a leap and be free." And then you wake up, and it is the morning.
Oh, that contrast.
Okay.
So, it is a new day in Mindrin. A little bit overcast today, a little bit rainy. But you all meet back up. Would you want to have met at Sipaklu's house? Sipaklu's apartment, I should say.
That's probably fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
Best
And
place.
now you can all reset your spells and everything.
Yay!
So, how far into the night was Cool's dream, would you say?
You wouldn't have known necessarily when you woke up. It was the middle of the night. There was probably maybe a couple of hours left.
Okay, because he would not have gone back to sleep after that.
Okay.
So I don't know if that would be enough for a point of exhaustion or not. I'll leave that up to you.
Say you still get your long rest this time.
Okay. This time.
Okay. So you all gather back up at Sipaklu's apartment, and the day is yours. What would you like to do?
How did it go last night? With Danvin, how did it go?
He's okay. We got him home safe. They asked him some questions, but it wasn't anything too invasive, I don't think. He did well
Okay.
given the circumstances.
So this employer of yours must be a good man. It's not often somebody will walk full in without fear of the law. You must have had nothing to fear.
I like to think that you insight checked Danvin and had no idea that he was nervous at all.
Nah, I'd understand if he was nervous, but he still went. Like, he didn't run out the back when they went in to tell him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I don't think he has anything to hide.
Yeah, Savan. You
Yes.
you remember that guy in the black robes that we saw on the street the other day?
The one who ran away from you.
Yeah. You sure you have no idea who that might be if you've been around here?
That I had no idea?
Yeah.
Do I? Did I? No? No, I'm sorry. I do not know.
All right.
Who is he?
I think he's the reason I have this magic. He's done a lot of damage. A lot of damage.
Oh. Did you want to find him?
Yeah. A few questions.
Okay.
So you said yesterday that you all were interested in or have become adventurers. I was thinking if just an idea, something that I was working on. I thought I might fly it by you all to see if there might be any interest among possibly in the future aspiring individuals such as yourselves.
Go
How would
on.
you all feel if you were invited on an expedition, say, to Ryokan?
I'm in.
Do I know anything about Ryokan?
You know that it is the northwest continent of Zephyria.
I'm gonna say Cole would have no idea. But that
Probably
would be
not,
probably. Where's
Uh,
that?
It's a mysterious land in the northwest. Seems that even the most well-informed and educated people know nothing about it. Might be a great place to explore, find new treasures, search new lands, and come back to our homes as lauded heroes.
What makes you interested in it in particular?
Apparently, it has much to do with my family's disgrace. Again, I understand this is quite the undertaking. We may not be ready for some time, but when that time comes, I'd like to know there's at least a few brave souls who might be inclined to join me.
Question, Andrew. Does this feel like the right thing to do to me? Like, do I get any feelings about this at all?
I mean, it sounds far away. Sounds like a great way to get out of the city.
Okay. It's as good a place as any for me.
Maybe it's not a completely insane idea. Anyways, just, early morning banter.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what are our next steps?
Well, suppose we could look at that vault with the soldiers if y'all remember where that was. Or
Daggerfall, something dagger.
Something
You
with a
guys
dagger.
don't know the location. You know it was
Right.
called Razorfall.
Razor. There we go.
Razorfall. Right.
But you've not yet been able to figure out the where that is.
Well, I would be concerned about going there if they're sending soldiers. They're already. You saw how worked up uh, Lady Lenoren got. I'd be concerned that if we were found snooping around there, it might end badly for us.
Well, here's my question. Are we done with our job for Danvin?
He seemed to think so last night. He thanked us profusely. He said thanks for all our hard work, but it
I
doesn't
don't
feel
know.
like we're done.
Yeah, it doesn't. And also, he has not paid us.
What
Did we
is it
get
that
paid by
you
the
all
Adventuring
agreed?
Guild? Or...
What is it that you agreed to do?
Find Nira.
Based on the conversations last night, she's yet to be found.
Well, then we should find her.
An
How do we
oath
do
upheld
that?
is an oath in Benton's honor.
And I mean, if we're gonna get Danvin out of this mess, they're still looking at him for the crime, even though it was his father. But it wouldn't be right to just leave him in the lurch like that.
Wouldn't, but I want to help him, but I don't know where to go. And right now, it feels like we might see what they find at the vault. See if they come and talk to him after that.
Hmm. We could see
Why
if
don't
we
we
go.
journey to the vault? We don't need to be caught snooping. We can announce our presence and demand the same level of access that they have. We never said anything about avoiding it.
Or offer our services. We already offered our services, our assistance.
They said they wanted to inspect to see if it had been tampered with at all. Makes sense
So
to
then we
me.
should go with them.
That doesn't preclude our presence in any ways, of course.
We should ask permission and see if we can go with the soldiers. I don't want to run afoul of people with so much power. That's dangerous in a
Nor
city like
do
this.
I.
No.
Shall we go to their house? See if we can get their blessing to join the soldiers?
Sure.
I don't know if we'd be allowed over in that district. Can certainly speak to a guard and see if he could pass out the message.
I mean, we were allowed twice before. I guess last time we were invited.
And
I'm
the
sure if
first
we say
time
that
we
we're
were
here to
invited,
see, I'm sure if we say that we're there to see Lord Arkarin, they might make us wait until they get word back, but they might let us in.
What do we have to lose but our heads?
Well, when you put it like that, how could I refuse?
I regret that I have but one life to give for Benton.
No, I'm much more of the nobody ever won a war by dying for their country. You won by making the other poor bastard die for his.
I recognize who said that. I recognize the quote, but I can't place it.
I know General Mattis has said it a lot, but I'm pretty sure he's quoting MacArthur, maybe?
Mhm. All right, so you are headed back to try to get to Lord Akaran's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You come off the lightning rail, and you are met by two guards at the entrance to the rich district, who say, "What's your business?"
We were hoping that we could speak with Lord Arkaran again, or maybe if you could get him a message from us.
Um,
He's working on investigation with us.
he one of the guards pulls out a scroll, looks down over it. Your name, please.
Iron Eye.
That one.
He says, "We've not been instructed to give you access. If you give us a message, we could possibly see that he gets it."
Mm,
All right. We were hoping that he'd allow us to accompany his expedition for investigation purposes.
Anything else?
mm.
I think that's it.
Very well. We will see that the message is sent.
Much obliged. Are they making any movements or
Mm-mm.
anything?
Nope.
Do I even need to incite them? See if they're actually going to send a message.
I mean, you can make an insight check.
Okay.
I mean, you get the impression that they'll do it. They didn't feel any sense of urgency, and they they didn't necessarily want to abandon their post to do it.
Okay.
But yeah, that looks like they will probably eventually do it.
All right. Turn to the group. They got back in touch with us using magic last time. I think they can just do it again, wherever we are.
Okay.
I was
Won't do
trying to
much
decide
to
whether I
wait
wanted
around.
to slip them a little bit of gold, but I'm worried that in this part of town that might be frowned upon.
Or way more gold than we have.
Tell you that,
Yeah.
in front of me, I'll be frowned upon.
Very well. Well, then I made the right decision, didn't I?
Do I need to make a perception check?
All right. So where to next?
Is there anything else we can do in the meantime?
Well, there's still the matter of those explosions all over town, but don't know if we have any tangible places where we can go on those.
Right.
I can think of one thing. Potentially. Alhorn.
What?
Alhorn, my contact.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if that is. If you would know anything about it.
I mean, it couldn't hurt.
He still hasn't gotten back to me on Creed.
So the arrangement that you made with Alhorn was that you would go back to him at some point and see if he had any information to sell you.
Well,
Wow.
I guess
Standing
I'll
him
go
up.
do that. Well, that will be good because if we find nothing, then we know he was not a criminal.
Also seems
I
like
mean,
a
I
good way to
suppose.
kill 5 minutes.
Right. So, I will try and go find Alhorn.
Okay. So I think actually we'll stop before we get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, because that might turn
All
into a
right.
thing, and you know.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it might turn into a thing.
Ooh.
I know.
Might be a thing going on here.
Although he did also make it sound like you might have a bounty on your head and you didn't. So maybe it's not actually turning into a thing.
Maybe, maybe not.
Or maybe I just didn't find the bounty on your head.
Wouldn't you like to know?
All right.
All right. Well,
All right.
interesting. Wasn't sure how this was going to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that this evening.
Yeah. Is it next Sunday yet?
Right. I wish.
Almost. Very close.
I don't even have a game tomorrow to look forward to. Like,
Is there a game tomorrow?
no,
No, nothing.
nope, not for a group.
Not for the Mad Hatters.
Is that
See if we
over
get a
now?
West Marches game then.
Say again?
Is the Mad Hatters over now, or?
No, we're in the middle of a 2-shot that Joshua is running.
Mm-hmm.
We finished Lost Mines. It's kind of moved into a rotating GM type thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
And I have another 1-shot that I'll run once my friend sends it to me because she ran it and I was like, ooh, this would be so good.
Cool.
And then I think at some point we're going to start up another thing, just not for a couple months.
Yeah.
And you guys haven't. Never mind. As I just dropped my Monday game I was DMing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Lack of time to actually DM.
He was looking at Curse of Strahd, so that'll be
Ooh, wow.
different than normal 5e.
Actually, Andrew, you'll appreciate this. I was running my Monday game I just dropped in Theria.
Oh, really? Cool. With the new
No, I don't have the book. I was just based entirely on my knowledge from watching the show.
Oh, wow.
Twice. I watched the show twice. 3 times, most of it. Wow. I have a problem.
What show?
These Dungeons and Randomness. DM's just such a good storyteller. It's crazy.
Yeah.
He's goddamn brutal too.
Yeah. It started in 4th edition, and they ran what for 3 years in 4th edition.
Yeah, I was in Dave the Knave's one shot, or not one shot, the West Marches game he ran, and he thought that the enemy being bloodied having a special effect was something that like Jason just like put in. I was like, oh, it's like a 4th edition mechanic, but Matt Colville and a few other like DMs who run like advice channels.
Mhm.
One thing that I've heard a lot of them say is to implement things from other editions that aren't necessarily inconsistent with 5e. So I've been wanting to put in like bloodied effects. Like if your big bad guy gets to have health, he's gonna do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Or scaling like magic items up. Like as you learn to like use them better and become more proficient with them, maybe you like find a new power you didn't immediately know about.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's cool.
There were a lot of really cool abilities in 4E that I mean I only know of because I watched that show. Or listened
Right.
to the show.
Yeah, no, I want to give someone a goddamn storm render. Alright, I'm gonna bounce, guys.
Anyway, all right. Well,
All right.
thanks all for playing, and we will pick up next week.
Later.
See ya.
All right.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.